Hello, in this video we're going to be taking an XML file, which is what you can see in front of us, and we're going to be using JavaScript to read the file, and we're going to be rendering it here in HTML in a table. So let's think of a situation where you might get your customer information given to you as an XML file. Now, in case you're new to XML, I just thought it looks a little bit like HTML, where you've got tags that contain things. So you've got all customers here, and if you look, that goes all the way to the end, and then for each customer inside a customer tag, the IDs are inside ID tags. But the great beauty of XML is, first of all, they don't all have to have the same tag. So see Philbert here, he has a middle name tag, whereas Ricky doesn't. Whereas with a CSV file, you'd have to have empty values in there. Here you can just populate it with the information that you've got, and it's very human readable. So you could just open this file and you could read it, but that's not what we want to do in this example. In this example, we want to see it in a nicer interface, which I've tried to keep reasonably simple so that the code is reasonably simple for you. So this is the code that I'm starting with, and I'm going to have a link to this in the description, and I'm going to go through it. And if you want to stop here and just go use the code, go for your life. But if you're interested, I'm going to do a bit of a walkthrough, and we're going to have a look and see what's going on with this. So where in fact is my code? There it is. View customers, that's it there. Let's get that opened up. So this bit up to here is just a normal HTML page. So there's your HTML tag with the language of English. There's your head, there's your body, and we've got a heading there, and here is a div with the ID of table container, and that's where we're going to use JavaScript to push our table into that space. So let's see how the JavaScript operates. We're going to start off with this variable called XML_doc equaling null. So it's got nothing going on, it's empty, but it exists. Then we're going to use this function called load customers, and we're going to try to get the data using fetch from customers.xml. Now they're in the same directory. So that's basically trying to get this thing called response, and if it's okay, or if it's not okay, that's what the asterisk means, we're going to throw a new error, failed to load XML. Now we have this thing text, which is waiting on response. So it's the text from response when that comes back. Then we're going to have this object called parser, which is using this library. I think it's called a library, I might be wrong there. And so XML_doc, which remember we created all the way back up on line 18, is looking in this object parser, using parse from string, which is a function, a built-in function, probably from the library, text, and we're telling it that it's text HTML, and then we are calling this thing down here called render table. It's a little bit of error stuff here, but basically this goes and it gets the data out of the XML file. If it's there, it processes a bit to turn it into something that the table can use, and then we're going to render the table, so we're going to cycle through that data, and we're going to build the table out of it. So first thing is customers from XML_doc, which is the thing we created, we're getting the tag name of customers. So going back to, let's have a quick look at this. There it is. So the customers is kind of the box that each one is in. So we're saying, hey, give us a look at all of those. So then we're building the top of the table. So we're just chucking some HTML into the variable. So this HTML content, we're just chucking all of that in. That could be written by hand, and that's the top of the table. Then we're going to loop through the customers, loop through that array, and we're going to grab each customer with their index, with the index of what we're counting through. And we're adding that content to it. So we're adding their ID, their first name, their last name, and then, oh actually, you know what, sorry, we're not. We're just setting up these variables here. So we're getting them out of the larger array, and here is where we're adding them into the HTML for each row. Once we've done that for all the rows, then we're just going to close off the table by adding a bit of HTML at the end. And then, because all of this is in functions, we're just going to call load customers, and load customers is up here. And load customers, just to remind you, will in turn call render table. So I haven't explained every little bit of it, but I hope it's enough that you'd be comfortable grabbing this code and having a bit of a play with it and understanding in general terms how it works, turning this XML here into this page here.